Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Beat, where we not only talk about everyday problems, we talk about everyday solutions. And here we are using a new solution.
Back again.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's going to see this, but yeah. We have a little different system. Well, no, I mean, they're not going to see that we're using a different system. But if the system works, then the editing of this will look different, better. I don't know.
Hope so. Yeah. Well, that's, it's forever improvement.
Of course, doing everything
make different changes.
Doing everything we said we wouldn't do, which is make it complicated, but
of course. But we got to make it better. You got to constantly improve. You can't stay stale. You know what I mean?
And also I think making it like using technology to make it easier. Okay, so ironically, we spent some time on the first episode or whatever, or second, I don't know, of this season, talking about AI, right? And so as I researched these video editing tools, like that, what do you think are dominating a lot of these newer tools that you could use for this kind of thing is AI. So they have these tools where, like, to edit the video, it does this transcript and you could literally cut out certain words and then it edits the video based on the words you cut out on the transcript. And it's a little valuable. That's valuable.
There's some value in that one.
Is it AI though? This is really the question. Like, is that AI or is it just an automated process? I mean, I don't really know. But then they have this other thing. It's like it can deep fake your voice. So basically it asks you to put in you say a paragraph, you read a paragraph, and then it literally based on that kind of can create an AI version of your voice. Then in the transcript, you can put sentences and it reads that sentence like your voice. It's crazy.
That's strange.
It actually works, from what I saw,
pretty well.
Pretty well. And so I don't know, is there a use for that? Like where if there's something I wanted to say but didn't, then I could
you could just kind of put it in there or whatnot.
Say it. Yeah. I mean, I guess it feels...
It's kind of scary, though.
Yeah, it is a little bit, right?
It's kind of scary. And it's interesting that you just brought that up because I happen to be watching the show Succession on HBO has done it and whatnot. Yeah. And I'm towards the end of I'm not going to ruin anything, don't worry. Towards the end of it, it's like 4 seasons about. But one of the things that was just worked on is putting somebody else's voice to say certain earnings were going to take place on a video in order for all the investors to sort of hear it and for the value to go up, right? And they never said it. Right. So it's like, but it was the voice. It sounded like it. They were able to get the face look just like the person and the lips to move in a similar fashion. So then the analysts heard it and, the price did what the price did. And in that situation, it's a little scary. It's frightening. Because they didn't say it. And listen, it wasn't the real earnings,
this tool is like, $12 a month. I mean, it's like,
It's not, right? Anybody could do it, right?
That's maybe doesn't have the full functionality at that price, but 25, 24, whatever it is. Like it's pretty scary. And it can, so I want to play with it only because, we talk about AI. I don't want to be that person that's like AI, although I already kind of took that position, but maybe there are some uses. We talked about that. And this might be one of them. Again, I still hesitate as to what I'm going to call AI and what I'm not, because I think everybody calls everything AI right now. And I'm not sure of that, but learning your voice through a paragraph and then being able to speak it, that's probably AI. I'm thinking
that is it because it's learned your voice, right? It learns the tone of it and how you speak in your cadence. Yeah. And it's kind of scary. So it almost is bringing up this question everything mentality. If you can really make it sound like the person and you can really make them seem like they said something in particular, it's
like we don't even have to record these.
I know, right? Hey, is this really me right now? I don't even know.
Who knows? Right? I don't know. But then this has another tool that I played with a little bit. It's frighteningly good. It modifies your eye contact. So right now, I'm looking at the camera, right? And then, but I can't see you. So I look down here and I look at you. And when I watch these videos back, I'm like, well, that kind of looks kind of natural because, I wouldn't be talking to the camera. Everyone knows you're not in the camera, right? So it's fine. But there are times where I am talking to the audience and I'm actually looking at you, right? And so that's probably not so natural. Anyway, this tool actually changes your gaze so that...
Wow. It doesn't look like you're fluttering or looking in a different place.
It looks like you're looking at the camera. And that to me is... Yeah, and it's pretty good. Like I expected that I would try it, and you'd have these like big eyes,
yeah, big fake googly eyes.
like a
something looks awkward there,
like a Snapchat filter or something.
Right.
Like that doesn't look. All of a sudden I'm Pokemon,
right?
But no, it actually looks pretty natural. What I saw, I don't know. So maybe I was wrong in this whole AI thing. I'm not sure.
Maybe, but I think it's interesting you brought that up because I definitely have a problem, right? And we talked about it in the past a little bit, and I worked on it over the last week or so, and hopefully going forward things will be better. But I definitely have a problem of looking at whoever I'm talking to on a Zoom call and then looking at myself and then looking back and forth to make sure that I look okay, that my background's okay, that everything's all right all the time, right? So as we talked about in our last episode, right, we had this whole issue, just to kind of bring you back there, where we had, I said, part of the problem in what goes on every day now is because I work from home, I have to look at myself every day. Right. And when I used to get up, when I used to have a regular day where there weren't Zoom calls, I'd look at myself in the morning, I'd brush my teeth, I'd do my hair, I'd go to work. If I was in the bathroom, I'd pass by a mirror, I'd see myself. I wouldn't see myself again really until the end of the day when I was going to bed. And so I wasn't always thinking about everything about my appearance and what's right and what's wrong and all these sort of things, and staring and criticizing myself and really getting to a place of self-loathing. But anyways.
And by then it's frightening. If you wait till the end of the day, it's like, well, I'm going to assume I didn't look like this all day. When you probably
I hope
did.
that wasn't there all day, right?
Whoops. When you did. Oh, I have a funny story about this. Go ahead. Continue.
I'll
tell you
keep that in mind. I will. So what I had done for the last week was... I went into Zoom because that's what we were using, right? And I clicked the box that said hide my view. All right.
Yeah.
Now, when you're on one-on-one calls, it still shows. So I just hit the little minimize and it goes away.
Which we said we were going to do this experiment. This was like,
yep.
This is two episodes ago, but we said you're going to do this experiment and you're going to tell us how this went.
Exactly.
And so you did it.
So I did it.
Okay.
Right. I did it. And every time I had a larger group, right? At first, what I would do, all honesty, is I would make sure that everything looked good, and then I would shut it down, right? So the first second was like, is there anything behind me or whatever's going on, right? Do I look okay? And then I'm done.
Looking
and I shut
at
it
your
down.
teeth and make sure.
Right, real quick. Spinach, nothing in my teeth or anything like that. Typical stuff.
Looking good, and then you got
yeah. And so I did it, and I'll be honest with you, I liked it. I'm going to always do it. Okay, and I'm going to tell you more about this. Yeah. I'm going to always do it because I was able to focus on the person I was talking to only, like I was in a one-on-one meeting, right? And so it felt more like I was looking at your facial expressions. I was looking about how you were saying things and what you were saying. And when we speak, half of what we deliver is in how we look and feel, right? So that's all part of, the presentation stuff we talked all about, in the past that we'll get to. But when I was looking at myself, I wasn't focusing necessarily the whole time on the individual. So I was able to not think about me, not think about what's going on behind me, not think about, do I have to move a hair or do I have to do this or do I have to do that, right? I wasn't listening as well. Right. So it helped. It helped a lot. And I would absolutely 1,000% recommend that in any of these video calls that people try to do them and have these conversations without looking at them, without themselves on the screen. Because there is something, again, as we talked about a couple episodes ago, there's something about looking at yourself and how do you look and how do you appeal, right? We talked about like looking through wedding pictures and you're trying to find yourself, right? Yeah. You're always looking to see and make sure you look okay. But at the same point, it was never the case. We were never looking at ourselves all day long. We were never doing that. Nobody was. And now everybody is over and over and over and over again, right? And so I take it off, and it allowed for me to actually be a little bit more present in the conversations, the meetings. It's even when it was one-on-one, actually more when it was one-on-one, right? Yeah. More when it was just me and someone else, because you can see if my eyes are looking somewhere else. And I think about it when I had meetings in a business perspective, in a business sense, and I was sitting across from someone, and I would get upset if they look at their computer or shoot a quick email as we're having a conversation, right?
Because they're distracting themselves,
right? Something else has got them, right? Just like when I'm having a conversation with my wife and she picks up her phone and starts, looking at Facebook, and I'm like, I just lost all of your attention.
Or people start typing. They're so clearly typing an email, like I'm on the phone with somebody and they're typing, right? Yeah, and you're like, what? You're not listening. Oh, it's a very close family member that does this to me, so I can't say, but they do this all the time. Like they'll ask me a question, or I'll ask them a question, they're talking and I'm listening, and then they ask me something back, and then the minute my mouth opens, it's I'm like, what are you doing? You're literally typing an email as I'm talking, or I'm talking about something that's important to me and you're typing an email. Like, it's the worst thing in the world.
The worst.
Oh God, it's terrible, right?
And Bob, that brings me to all of us that are on these calls, any sort of video call, any sort of piece, right? Turn yourself off. Turn yourself off.
That's a good thing.
Turn yourself off, right? Be there, be focused with the people.
Oh, there's a B.
Which is my beef. Okay?
Wait. Can I say something before you do the B? Because this is important.
Sure.
I think that not everybody does what you do.
You probably are right.
I think, because I did an experiment too with myself, saying, how much do I actually look at myself? And I'm not saying I'm not vain. This is not the point. But I don't do it as much. I thought that I did it a lot. I was like, I must do that. Because like I said, I joked around. When I edit the videos, I don't even know that you're there. Like, I have no idea.
Wow. Wow. No, I don't. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I'm still hearing a bit of a. I'm still feeling a little bit,
But when I'm on these calls, I really don't do that as much. So maybe.
Okay, good. Maybe it could just be me, but I don't think it's.
I don't think it's just you. No. But I don't know that it's everybody. So maybe the thing to do is say, check yourself, see if you do that. And if you do that, then turn it off. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I don't know. Well, I guess if you don't do it, why wouldn't you turn it off? Because you're not looking at yourself anyway. So I guess I'm stupid. Yeah.
Why have it on?
Why have it on?
Pretend you're in a meeting.
Right. So never mind. I interrupted you for absolutely no good reason. Go to B.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Because really what it all brings me to is my beef today, which is the distractions and the lack of focus that humans have, and the ability to really have a conversation with someone. And I'm going to put a strong period at the end of that. like really have a conversation, right? And this comes up probably daily for me, right? It leads to stress in different scenarios. But when people are having a conversation, you're having this, whatever it may be, it could be work, it could be personal. And the brain is then immediately going somewhere else to the person you're talking to, and the phone comes up, and maybe it's a social app, or maybe it's a work thing, but nothing, and it just starts going, right?
Yeah.
Or like you had just said, you're talking to someone and you hear the clicking on the keys. Exactly. Tap, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, are you not listening to me? Can you hear me? This is all we got now, people.
They're
right?
clearly not listening to you. They're clearly
not listening. They are not.
Oh, they're clearly not. Yeah.
They are not that. And then, whether it's business or personal, you realize that they really didn't hear you, and you expect they did. And then you have the same conversation a week or two later, and you didn't say that, or this didn't happen, or that didn't happen. And we have these gaps, and we have these issues. And whether it's a miscommunication, like I mentioned at home, where there's a bigger thing that comes out of it that's an issue, or a business perspective, which I'm seeing a lot as well, where there's gaps, things fall because they don't know that, because nobody was focused on the conversation, because there's too many distractions around.
Too many distractions.
Making me crazy.
And I also think not just too many distractions, but people have given themselves the flexibility They've given themselves a pass, right? Like that's just the way it is today, right? There's all these different things. Like, I think that the phones have really hurt this, right? Because it's like, it's become so socially acceptable at every turn to, like, you know, pick up your phone and start looking at it. And you're like, that's something that we never, ever did.
Ever had. No,
and
we never had that.
So once that becomes kind of the norm, then I think people feel like it's okay to do that during all the time, right? Like, we're on a conference call and I'm typing an email, or I'm in a class and I'm doing, like, it just feels like there's, right, like something.
Yeah, totally.
You know, something that's inherently like, this is fine if you're going to do, like, you know, and I think that that's not a good thing at all. No, it's not a good thing.
It's my perspective again is it's not a good thing. Sometimes it's a habit. Right. Sometimes I think, because I catch myself sometimes where I'll be doing whatever and all a habit will be pick up the phone. But the way that I feel, like, I'm not sure if it's everybody, just like I'm not sure if everybody looks at themselves when they're in Zoom calls or whatnot. But the way I feel is like, I'm just going to stop talking. Like, if you pick up your phone, your brain is gone. Like, what? Like, obviously what I'm saying is not important to you, or you're not interested in hearing me. And that may not be what they're trying to deliver, but it doesn't matter what they're trying to deliver. It matters what I receive, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing when that happens is, I'm not interesting. You don't care what I'm saying. And you've got better things to do than to listen to what I'm reviewing right now. And again, work or personal or anything else. That's a horrible way to make someone feel. But, and I don't know if you feel the same way or the same thing, 100%. The same impact you have.
This one's 100%. I would tell you, I think these two things are really connected, right? Because we have just become a very self-absorbed society. We are so concerned with self at every turn that we don't care what other people are thinking, feeling, saying, whatever else. Now, I think I happen to this, this drives me crazy. I think you're a very good listener. I think I'm a very good listener. But I know we're surrounded by people that are not, right?
Always. 100%.
And it takes, so here's the thing, if you're going towards a solution, it really does take caring about that. And I think that's the difference. Like, you and I care about this, so therefore we are going to be cognizant of it when we're listening to other people.
Yes.
But if other people don't care about it, then they don't care if they're listening. And I think that does happen. Like, I think there are people that just talk for the sake of talking. Like, they don't really have anything useful to say. They're just like, they just want to me. They don't really, they're just talking for attention. And so then when it comes time to listen, maybe they're assuming that that's what the other person is doing. So they're perfectly satisfied not being listened to, because I didn't care if I was listened to.
I didn't care listening to you either, right?
Feel like maybe that's what's going on. I don't know, but it something.
I think that's part of it, right? I think it depends on the personality. People are sitting there and really don't care. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of that part that you don't ever want to be seen as that person. But I also feel like there isn't the skill of listening, right? And again, this isn't something that's totally new, right? Years and years ago, we used to teach some programs, or how do you listen better? How do you who's the best listener that you know? And people couldn't come to more than a list of 2 or 3 people, right? Because people aren't known as good listeners. They're few and far between if you're a really good listener. And what we've done is we've given people tools to be a worse listener. We've given people distractions and things that they can do quickly in their hands that create a fidget and to create lack of attention and things like that, which is why we need to focus more.
Yeah, well, you got to work harder.
Listening.
We
have to work harder on being able to do it. It's a more difficult task. Whether you're here, right, over the computer talking to one another, because you take away some of the other things that show you're paying attention, or you're face to face, you've got a hard task in front of you to really make the person you're talking to feel like, feel like you're listening to them and you're absorbing what they're saying, right?
Yeah, and I fear that the real core problem is that people don't care. Because, even if you said like, okay, the solution is make the other person feel like you're listening, they're still going to pick up on the fact that you're not, or you don't care, right? I think it really has to do with like, stop caring only about yourself, really stop only caring about yourself. Like, you're not the most important thing. You're really not. I mean, make other people more important. And I think that will help, because I think you got to start at the root cause of this problem, which is most people really don't care about other people. That's an issue.
I don't want to go there though.
I know.
You're probably right, but I'd like to believe that society as a whole cares outside of themselves, you know? I mean, did we take the love thyself theme so far that we only love thyself and we don't care about anybody else?
I think we did.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
It's so
like
funny.
I'm a fan of me to an extent, but I like talking to you and I care about how people feel, and I'm outward facing around things I'm doing, maybe too much of a degree at times, as you'd probably agree. I care too much about perception. I feel guilty about different things. I want to listen to people. I care about what they're thinking and what they're saying and stuff. And why is that so rare now in society? Why don't people care?
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about it. I tell my daughter this all the time. Like, she'd be so concerned. She goes out. She's so concerned about, you know, how she looks or this or that or the other. I'm like, nobody cares. Right? Nobody cares, because if you look too good, it actually makes them feel bad, right?
Yeah. They'll try to find your faults and they'll ridicule you even more.
And if you look not so good, they actually kind of feel better about that, right? So like, what do you care about looking good for? Like, it's a weird thing, right? It's a strange thing, but I totally agree with you. I personally do think that it just has to do with like natural curiosity. Like, don't you care what other people have to say? Don't you care about other people's opinions? Don't you care about somebody talking to you and they say something that's important to them and you want to learn what that is because you care about that person? I really think that those are the things that are missing, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
That's where I would want to work on.
And you know, the one thing that I do, not to keep beating this dead horse here, but the one thing that's interesting to me is about caring, right? Like, first of all, my wife's one of the biggest offenders, right? Don't tell her I said that. I'm sure she'll hear this, but she's one of the biggest.
She won't learn about it on this at all.
She'll never know. I didn't just put this totally out there in the atmosphere, but she is one of the biggest offenders, and I don't necessarily think. Maybe this is just self-protection, that it's because she doesn't care. I really think it's because there's so much going on that there's something else that just popped into her head that she's got to take care of later, or knows she's got to do. She's got to check out. She's got to do something. And I could be talking to her and it's just, you know, and it kind of comes up. Yeah. And I don't know how to fix it.
Which means she doesn't care about you more than that. I'm sorry.
There's no other way to look at it, right? She can say, no, I was just checking. I can hear you, right? I can hear you. And I'll say, all right, what did I just say? And she'll repeat half of it and she'll miss the other half. I know I'm not the only person that's had that conversation, right? Well, what did I just say then? Well, no, I just said this. I go back and forth. Why don't you ever listen to me, right? Why you pick up your phone? I was trying to have a good conversation with you. I never see all that. Whatever it may be, I'm sure many people have had that. But I think the only thing I could think of is there's got to be just a set time to put this stuff away. Like, can we just carve out an hour and just say, get rid of it? Yeah. And then we hang out and talk and catch up on things. Because otherwise, you know, it's calling you. You got all these different things calling you, not literally calling you, but, you know, in your brain. And it's maddening.
Yeah, because there's always going to be something. Let's face it. It's not a shot at you, right? It's always going to be something that matters to somebody more than whoever they're talking to at the moment. Mm-hmm. So, but when you don't give yourself a fighting chance, right? Like, if the phone is there, then at some point, and I don't even know that like checking the phone, you're checking the phone to see if there's something more important, right? It's not like everything on the phone is more important. It's that you're checking the phone to see like, is this some more, and if you put the phone away, then you're not going to know, right? And so I think that is partly a solution for people that run into that, right? But
I mean, we operate with no ringers on, right? So I don't know if that's good or bad.
I think it's bad.
Because I think it's bad because then you don't know if you got something, but you have to keep looking to see whether or not you have something. But I don't want to be called by it. So it's like, how do you know, if I could just identify everybody I know with a special ring and remember what they are, then like when Bob texted me, I know I could look at that later, right? But
almost always.
Yeah, right. But if it's something urgent, you know, then I know that comes through.
I'm never getting your attention ever with that kind of a system. But, hey, speaking of which, you know, we're on this like kind of trial thing. So I want to make sure, because we're going to get cut off at some point. But I do want to tell my story because you know, it's more important than what you're saying. And also,
of course, most things are. but at least I can look at myself often and make sure I look
Yeah, how are you looking so far? Looking good.
So far, so good. I'm all right.
No, but it is a relevant story. And it's a funny story too that kind of talks to both of these things. So, this whole idea of not seeing yourself, right? So this was a while ago, but I cut my own hair, right? And I don't know if you could tell, but
you would never guess.
No, and it's actually a little longer than I normally keep it right now. I got a little fuzzy hair. Yeah. So, but what I do is once a week ish, I take a zero blade to it, and I don't go all the way down, but just enough to have not this
stubble,
right? Not this. Okay, so when I first started doing this, I had a little more hair, so I was like keeping it a little longer between cuts. And so I had this customer visit, and I did this pretty quick shave, right? And I go to the customer, and I'm kind of seeing that like they're not paying as much attention to me as they normally. A really good customer. We're doing this working session, and they seem so distracted. And I'm like, what is going on? Right? Like, why are they so distracted? Every time it happens a lot when they're like kind of coming around the back of the table and then going to the other side. I'm like,
you missed the spot.
Not just a spot. I'm telling you, I got home and I was like, I can't figure it out. And as I'm doing this, I'm like, holy mackerel. There's a lot of hair in this spot. So I take a mirror, which I never did stupidly. Now I do this all the time, right? I take a mirror to look at the back, and there is this swath of hair that I forgot. Literally, looked like Friar Tuck. It's the most ridiculous thing. It looked like I had been in an accident somewhere, and somehow like something's wrong with this guy. And it was the kind of thing that you look at and you're like, no one's going to call you out on it because they think it's a problem. Like
they think there's something going on, right? There's something bigger than that, right? Yeah.
I was like, there's a situation where having a mirror might have helped.
Yes, certainly. but certainly would have helped.
There you go. So that happened. And so
if your video was on, if it was a virtual meeting. Right. And you just, turned your head to take a look. You probably would have seen it, and it would have been good.
And I actually could have made fun of it at that point, and then I would have broke the ice. Right. But the fact that...
Or at least said, my camera's not working.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Well, and those are the things, like, I remember, this is 20 years ago now, I was at a conference, and our general manager of our business got up and did this big speech, and the zipper was open. This is the worst. This is my worst nightmare, right? Like, I'm always checking my zipper because at this moment, right? The zipper was, and not just like it was open.
Like it was wide open. And he was on stage.
He was on stage in front of all the people that he managed. He's wide open. This is a great guy, by the way. So it's like, nobody cared, but it was like, and he had no idea. And that's the kind of nightmare scenario, right? Like where you just done an hour thing and something like that has happened.
And 20 years later, people are talking about it.
But not in a bad way. It's like, nobody cares. I don't care that, this happened, but it's embarrassing for him. But for us, it's a story and it's fun. And it kind of brought him down to earth, to be honest with you, if I'm being, so there's situations where we used to do those things, right? And by the way, we lived through it, right? We lived to tell the tale.
100%.
So,
100%.
There you have it.
It's all good.
Thought I would share that.
That's a good one.
No, it's a good beef though, James. I really think that you have something here. And so what's our takeaways? The takeaway that I'm getting is, hey, try to turn your camera off, whether or not you are looking at yourself or not, right?
Yep.
That will avoid that temptation. And then, kind of towards that same thing, try to do that in life, right? Like turn off the devices, turn off the distractions, be more present with people. Why not? Like that's something. And even if you do care about somebody, like take the distractions away that would cause you to take your focus off of them, because they're going to feel like crap otherwise, right?
Yeah. Think about how your actions when you do that are making the person across from you feel. Yeah. Just think about it. Right. Think about it whether you're typing like crazy while someone's talking to you. Think about it if you're picking up your phone in a conversation, either this kind of conversation or a face-to-face. Think about how the other person is feeling. And if you care, then make a change. Right. Make a change. Put it away.
That's right.
Get away the distractions, because it's hard for all of us. It's hard for all of us now because of the habit we have of picking up the phone and looking, sometimes at absolutely nothing.
That's right.
Just looking. So,
and then,
do what you can.
And when your wife actually sees this, then, you know, you can like pass this advice on to your next wife. Because she's gonna
Yeah, sure. Exactly. I'll be doing the next Beyond the Beef.
Maybe she'll
from my
listen.
parents' basement. Right. Exactly.
Anyway, I'll try and calm her down. Which, not that I can.
It's all good. It's not something I haven't said to her in the past. I know better.
No,
than
but
that.
I'm sure she appreciates you saying it to everybody.
I just did. Yeah. All 7 listeners. Of Beyond
True.
the Beef.
This is the other thing too.
To the whole world.
Yeah.
Right.
I was editing a couple episodes ago. There was something in there that I said, and I was like, "Oh, I got to re-edit it because I don't want anybody to think whatever." And my wife's like, "There's 7 people listening." I said, "Yeah, but you don't understand. When it blows up, they go back,
But there
and
could
then
be.
there could be more.
There could be. Exactly.
Always act like everybody's listening." There you go.
Exactly.
That's a whole other story. Anyway, I think we got a good one here.
Awesome.
We'll see how this
Yes,
tool
sir.
worked. I'm not sure yet. But,
hopefully it did.
But yeah, appreciate everybody out there joining us for another episode, listening to us beef about random things, hopefully solving a couple of problems as well. But don't forget to subscribe. Let us know what you think. Give us comments, tell your friends, whatever else, or don't. I don't know. This is therapeutic, so we're going to keep doing it anyway. But while you're contemplating all that, we will see you next time on another episode of
Beyond the Beef.
Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Thanks, guys.